The great hall of the alien stronghold was filled with heavy silence. The walls were built from black stone, smooth and polished, with glowing blue lines running across them. At the center of the hall, the alien warrior Myra stood tall. Her body was strong, her skin marked with pale patterns that showed her rank. But her armor, once a symbol of pride, was broken. Large cracks ran across its chest plate, and one side was completely torn apart. Sparks still flickered from the edges, and the smell of burned metal filled the air. The alien clan gathered around her. Some warriors crossed their arms, their sharp eyes showing worry. Others whispered to one another, shaking their heads. The armor was no ordinary suit. It was sacred, passed down from leader to leader. Without it, Myra could not stand as protector of her people. And without a protector, the clan itself was weaker. The smiths had already tried. For days they worked with fire and strange tools, hammering, melting, and reshaping the metal. Yet nothing worked. The armor resisted their touch, as if it refused to be healed by alien hands. The leader of the clan, a tall figure named Darrow, raised his voice. His tone was heavy with command, and every word echoed through the hall. No one here can mend this armor. The metal rejects us. It carries secrets we no longer hold. Only a human engineer could mend this armor. The hall grew still. Some warriors frowned. Others muttered in disbelief. A human? To them, humans were small, soft, and untested. They were not warriors. They were workers, travelers, helpers. They had come from Earth only recently, offering skills in trade and machines. No alien warrior would trust them with something as sacred as armor. But Darrow's words carried weight. No one argued openly, though doubt filled the air. Myra's eyes, sharp as blades, moved across the hall. She searched the gathered crowd until her gaze fell on one figure standing quietly near the edge. It was Rami. Rami was not strong or tall like the aliens. He wore simple clothes stained with oil and dust. His hands were thin but steady, always busy with tools. He was a human engineer, one of the few brought into the clan's service to repair small machines, lights, and doors. He had never been part of anything important. Most days, the warriors barely noticed him at all. But now every eye turned toward him. Rami felt his chest tighten. His legs almost refused to move as Myra's gaze locked onto his. The weight of her eyes was like a heavy hand pressing down on him. He swallowed hard and lowered his head slightly, unsure if he should step forward or stay where he was. Whispers ran through the hall. A human, one warrior said. He will break it further. Another shook his head. This is madness. The armor must not be touched by weak hands. Myra raised her hand, silencing them. Her voice was clear and strong. The leader has spoken. If only a human can mend this armor, then it must be him. Her words left no room for debate. Rami finally forced himself to step forward. His boots echoed on the stone floor as he walked into the center of the hall. He felt the stares of every alien warrior burning into his back. When he reached Myra, he stood still, his eyes fixed on the damaged armor. Up close, it was even more terrifying. The plates were thick, layered with strange wires that glowed faintly. Symbols were carved into its surface, old and unreadable. The damage looked too great, almost hopeless. Rami's hands trembled slightly. He wanted to speak, to tell them he was not the right person, that he had never seen such technology before. But no words left his mouth. His throat was dry. Myra leaned closer. Her voice was quiet, meant only for him. You fear it? Rami nodded. Yes. But you will try. It was not a question. It was a command. Rami breathed in slowly. He looked once more at the armor, then back at Myra. There was no anger in her eyes, only certainty. Somehow, she believed in what the leader had said. Somehow, she believed this human could succeed where all others had failed. The hall waited in silence for his answer. Finally, Rami spoke, his voice low but steady. I will try. The decision was made. Darrow stepped forward, raising his staff. Then let it be known. The armor of our protector shall rest in human hands. May his skill guide him, for the honor of this clan depends on it. The warriors bowed their heads, though many still looked doubtful. Rami felt their distrust pressing on him like a storm. If he failed, it would not only shame him. It would shame the entire clan. Myra placed her hand on the broken chest plate. The sound of her fingers brushing the cracked surface was sharp in the silent hall. She turned to Rami once more. The armor waits for you. Do not fail it. Rami nodded again, though his heart pounded inside his chest. Two warriors lifted the armor carefully, carrying it to a side chamber where Rami often worked on machines. They set it down on a stone table, the glow of its wires lighting the room in pale blue. Rami followed, his steps heavy, his thoughts racing. When the doors closed behind him, he was alone with the armor. He reached out and placed his hand on the broken chest plate. The metal was cool, yet it seemed to pulse faintly under his touch, like something alive. He closed his eyes and whispered to himself. You are just metal. You can be fixed. But deep inside, he knew this was no ordinary task. The fate of more than just armor rested on his hands. Outside the chamber, Myra stood guard. Her eyes stayed fixed on the door, her mind sharp and restless. For the first time, she wondered not about battle or enemies, but about a single human who now held the weight of her people's pride. Rami stood in the workshop with the broken armor lying before him. The glow from its wires lit the room in strange blue light, making the walls seem alive. He placed both hands on the table and stared at the cracks across the metal. The surface seemed to hum faintly, as if it knew he was there. The silence pressed on him, heavy and unkind. He thought of walking away. The idea burned inside him. He was a human, not a chosen warrior of the alien clan. He fixed lights, doors, and simple machines. He did not carry the honor of a people on his back. If he failed, they would all remember him as the one who let their protector's armor die. His hands curled into fists. I cannot do this, he whispered to himself. But the words sounded weak in the empty room. The door opened with a sharp sound. Myra stepped inside. Her tall frame filled the doorway, and the blue glow of the armor reflected in her sharp eyes. She did not speak at once. Instead, she studied Rami, watching him as one would study a weapon before battle. Finally she said, You doubt yourself. Rami turned his head away. I do. I am not the right one for this. Your smiths are stronger, wiser. They know the ways of your people. I am only a worker. Myra walked closer, each step steady and firm. She stopped across the table, her hands resting on the edge of the armor. Her voice was calm but strong. Our smiths tried. The armor refused them. This is not about strength. It is about something else. The leader believes that something rests in human hands. I choose to trust his words. Rami shook his head. I have never seen such design before. The symbols, the layers, the wires. They are strange to me. If I break it further, what will happen to you, to your clan." Myra's gaze did not waver. "If you break it, then it will remain broken. We will fight without it. But if you succeed, you restore more than armor. You restore the honor of my people. You restore hope." Her words struck him like a hammer. She was not begging. She was not pleading. She was simply stating truth. Rami lowered his eyes to the armor again. His fingers hovered above the cracked surface. He wanted to believe her. He wanted to believe that his skill, small as it was, could matter. But fear still gripped him. The door opened once more. This time Darrow, the clan leader, entered with 2 other warriors. His presence filled the room with weight. His staff tapped against the floor as he walked. He looked first at the armor, then at Rami. "You have been chosen," Darrow said. His voice was deep and steady. "Do not waste this chance. The clan will not wait forever. Every hour without the Protector's armor is another hour of weakness. Enemies wait beyond the mountains. They watch us. They test our borders. If they learn that Myra's armor is gone, they will strike." The 2 warriors beside him added to the pressure. One sneered, folding his arms. "Why do we trust him? He is soft. His bones break with one strike. He will only shame us." The other warrior nodded. "The armor will never accept him. This is foolish." Rami felt his chest tighten again. The words cut deep. They saw him as nothing. He wanted to shout back, to tell them they were wrong, but his voice would not rise. Myra stepped forward, her tone sharp as a blade. "Enough. I will not let doubt poison this hall. The leader has spoken. The human will try. If you cannot stand with him, then leave." The warriors fell silent. Though their eyes still burned with anger, they did not argue further. Darrow raised his hand, silencing all. "It is settled. Human, you have our trust, whether you wish for it or not. Do your work." With that, he turned and left. The warriors followed, though one cast a final glare at Rami before leaving the room. The door closed once more, leaving only Rami and Myra. Rami sank into a chair, his shoulders heavy. "They do not want me here," he said quietly. "They want victory," Myra answered. "They will take it from any hands, even human hands. Their pride makes them blind, but pride cannot mend metal. Only skill can." Rami rubbed his forehead. His mind raced with doubt. He thought of Earth, of his old workshop where he repaired simple engines. He remembered the smell of oil, the warmth of machines he understood. Those tasks were small, safe. Nothing like this. "I am not strong like you," he said. Myra leaned closer. Her eyes met his directly. "Strength is not always muscle. Sometimes strength is in the hands that create. Sometimes it is in the mind that sees what others cannot. Do not compare yourself to us. Be what you are." Her words lingered. For a moment, Rami felt the weight on his chest ease slightly. He looked once more at the broken armor. The cracks seemed less like scars and more like puzzles waiting to be solved. He stood up again, forcing his voice to be firm. "I will try. But I need time, and I need space. No one else. Only me." Myra nodded. "You shall have both. I will guard this door. No one will disturb you. Work with clear mind." Rami reached for his small bag of tools. The familiar weight of metal wrenches and cutters gave him comfort. He placed them on the table beside the armor. The glow of the wires reflected off the polished steel of his tools, as if welcoming them. Myra turned and walked to the door. She stood outside, her spear in hand, her back straight. No warrior dared challenge her watch. Inside, Rami took his first careful breath. His fear had not left him, but something new now stirred in its place. Determination. He would not let Myra down. He would not let the leader's words be empty. He would not let the armor remain broken. He touched the cracked chest plate again, this time with steady hands. The hum of the armor rose faintly, as if answering him. For the first time since stepping into that hall, Rami believed he might have a chance. The workshop was silent except for the faint hum of the broken armor. The blue light from its wires cast strange shadows across the stone walls. Rami stood over it, his tools spread neatly on the table. His hands were steady, but his heart still beat fast. He began by tracing the cracks with his finger. The lines were deep, cutting through layers of metal and strange crystal. The more he studied, the more he saw that the armor was not only broken on the surface. Its inner layers had been shattered too. He leaned close, squinting at the patterns carved into the plates. They looked like symbols, but also like circuits. The designs curved and twisted in ways he had never seen before. Rami whispered to himself, "This is not just armor. This is a machine." He carefully opened a small panel near the side. Sparks jumped out, forcing him to pull his hand back. The energy inside was still alive. That gave him hope. If power still flowed through the core, then repair was possible. Taking a thin tool, he reached inside the panel, gently shifting wires aside. What he saw surprised him. The wires were not fully alien. Their material was strange, yes, but the design of their placement reminded him of old human machines. Back on Earth, he had worked with engines that carried the same layered logic. His thoughts turned quickly. Could it be that humans had once touched this kind of design? Or had aliens borrowed ideas from human work? Either way, the patterns spoke to him in a language he could almost understand. He grabbed a piece of scrap metal from the floor and compared it to the armor's material. It was harder, heavier, but it bent in ways he recognized. "You are not so different," he said softly, as though speaking to the armor itself. He began repairing the cracks by fusing smaller metal strips across the broken sections. He used heat, carefully pressing the glowing ends into the wounds. The blue light of the wires pulsed faster each time he added a piece, as if the armor reacted to his touch. His hope grew. But repairing armor was not only about strength. It was about balance. The plates had to shift with the warrior's movements. If he repaired one side too stiffly, Myra would not be able to move. He checked each joint, adjusting angles until the shape looked natural again. Hours passed. Sweat rolled down his forehead. His hands grew sore, but he did not stop. At last, he stepped back. The armor was not whole, but the cracks no longer gaped open. The plates looked stronger. The wires glowed brighter. Myra entered quietly, her steps echoing in the workshop. She stopped beside him, her eyes moving over the armor. "You have done much," she said. Rami wiped his hands on a cloth. "It is not finished. But it is ready for a test." Myra nodded. She stepped forward, lifting the armor with ease. She wore it slowly, piece by piece. The chest plate clicked into place, then the arms, then the legs. When the final lock closed, the armor let out a low hum, like a living creature waking from sleep. The room seemed to hold its breath. Myra moved her arms, testing the weight. She bent her knees, shifted her shoulders, then clenched her fists. The armor responded, glowing brighter with each motion. She looked at Rami. For the first time, there was no doubt in her eyes. Only curiosity. She stepped into the center of the workshop and struck her spear against the floor. The sound rang out, sharp and strong. The armor held firm. Rami's chest lifted with relief. He allowed himself a small smile. It works. Myra turned suddenly and struck her spear against the wall. The force shook the stones, and sparks flew. But this time, a crack appeared across the chest plate again. The glow dimmed. The armor shuddered, then fell silent. Rami's smile vanished. Myra pulled off the chest plate and placed it back on the table. The room fell quiet. She stood tall, her face calm, but Rami felt shame rise inside him. He had failed. The door burst open. Two warriors entered, their eyes narrowing at the sight of the dim armor. One of them spoke sharply. "I told you this was foolish. The armor rejects him. Look at it. It breaks under his touch." The second warrior sneered. "This is our protector's pride. And it lies dead because of a human's hands." Rami's head lowered. The shame grew heavier. He wanted to defend himself, to say he had tried, but the words would not come. His throat felt locked. Myra raised her hand, silencing the warriors. "Enough. He has not failed. He has begun. I saw the armor move. I felt its power. It woke under his work. That has never happened with our smiths." The warriors glared but did not argue with her directly. They left the room, muttering under their breath. Rami finally spoke, his voice low. "I should not have touched it. They were right. I only made it worse." Myra shook her head. "You made it breathe. Do not mistake struggle for failure. Armor like this does not bend easily. It resists until the one who works it understands both strength and spirit. You gave it strength. Now you must find its spirit." Rami looked at her in confusion. "Spirit? It is only metal." Myra's gaze sharpened. "It is more than metal. It carries memory. It carries honor. To repair it, you must listen to what it has seen." Rami frowned. "Machines do not speak." "Perhaps not to you," Myra said, "but I will teach you its stories. Each mark, each scar, is from a battle. Each crack is part of its life. To heal it fully, you must know why it broke. Only then will your hands find the right path." Rami stared at the armor, his mind caught between logic and the strange weight of her words. He had always seen machines as parts and wires. But to Myra, armor was a living history. He thought again of the hidden patterns inside the plates, the way the armor had pulsed when he touched it. Perhaps there was more truth to her words than he wanted to believe. Myra placed her hand on the broken chest plate. "Tomorrow, I will tell you its past battles. Tonight, rest. Your hands must not tremble when you try again." Rami nodded slowly. He felt tired, more than he realized. As Myra left to stand guard once more, he sat beside the armor, staring at its faint glow. He was not sure if he had failed or if he had taken the first step toward something greater. All he knew was that the armor was not finished, and neither was he. The next morning, the workshop doors opened with the sound of stone grinding against stone. Rami stood where he had left off the night before, his tools lined neatly across the table. The broken armor rested in the center, faint blue light flickering weakly through its cracks. His eyes were heavy from little sleep, but his hands itched to begin again. Myra entered carrying a bundle wrapped in cloth. She placed it on the table beside the armor. When she unwrapped it, several carved stones were revealed. Each one was marked with strange patterns and battle symbols. Rami studied them, unsure of their purpose. These are the records of the armor, Myra explained. Every battle leaves a memory. Our clan keeps them here. You must understand what this armor has endured before you can mend it fully. Rami picked up one of the stones. The carvings were deep, swirling in sharp lines. I do not know how to read this, he admitted. Myra moved closer. Her hand brushed over the markings as she spoke. This one tells of the battle in the Red Valley. Our protector faced 3 war beasts at once. The armor was struck by claws sharper than blades, but it did not break. That scar across the shoulder came from that fight. It is not a weakness. It is proof of victory. Rami listened carefully. He placed the stone down and picked up another. Myra explained again, this time about a mountain battle where the armor was nearly buried under falling rock. The chest plate cracked but did not shatter. It carried the protector out alive, she said, her voice filled with respect. The more Rami listened, the more he saw the armor differently. Each crack was not simply damage. It was a memory of survival. It was history written in metal. Myra turned to him, her eyes serious. Do you understand now? You cannot fix this armor by treating it like a broken door or engine. You must heal it as if it were alive. You must honor what it has seen. Rami nodded slowly. I think I understand. It is more than a machine. It is part of you. Part of your people. Myra's expression softened for the first time. Yes. And now, part of you as well. You touched it, and it answered. That means it accepts you. You must not doubt that. The words surprised Rami. A human being accepted by alien armor? It felt strange, yet he remembered the way it had pulsed under his hand. Maybe she was right. He spent the day working again, but this time with Myra beside him. She spoke quietly, telling stories of the armor's battles as he repaired each section. When he fused a joint, she reminded him of the weight it had carried in past wars. When he aligned plates, she explained how they had shielded against arrows of fire. Her words gave his work meaning beyond the shape of metal. At first, his progress was slow. His hands shook whenever he feared breaking something. But Myra's steady voice guided him. Soon he moved with more confidence, his mind no longer filled with doubt. Hours later, he paused to wipe the sweat from his brow. Myra leaned against the wall, watching him with arms crossed. Her eyes were sharp, but there was no judgment. Instead, there was something new: trust. You are different from the others of your kind, she said quietly. Rami looked up, surprised. Different? How? Most humans I have seen work for trade, for food, or for coin. You work with care, not only for yourself but for the armor. That is rare. Rami shrugged lightly. Back on Earth, I repaired machines that kept people safe. If I failed, they could be hurt. So I learned to care, not just to work. Maybe that is why I cannot treat this armor as only metal. Myra studied him for a long moment, then gave a small nod. That is why it may accept you. As evening fell, they stepped outside for a short break. The sky burned orange, and shadows stretched long across the courtyard. Alien warriors trained nearby, striking spears against shields. Some paused to glare at Rami, but Myra's presence kept them silent. Rami leaned against the stone wall, breathing deeply. They still do not believe in me. They do not need to, Myra replied. I believe. The leader believes. That is enough. Her words settled something heavy inside him. For the first time since being chosen, Rami felt a spark of confidence. When night came, they returned to the workshop. Myra lit torches along the walls while Rami adjusted the wires inside the armor. Suddenly, he uncovered something hidden beneath a thick layer of metal. A small core, round and glowing faintly, rested deep inside the chest plate. He froze. This was hidden, he said softly. Your smiths never reached it. Myra stepped closer, her eyes widening. What is it? Rami placed his hand near it. To his shock, the glow brightened under his touch. The hum of the armor grew louder. He pulled back in surprise, and the glow dimmed again. Myra's voice was quiet but filled with awe. It responds to you. Rami stared at the core. A shiver ran down his spine. Why me? Myra did not answer at once. Her gaze locked on the core as if she too struggled to understand. Finally, she said, perhaps humans were always meant to be part of its story. Perhaps the armor waited for your kind to return. Rami could not explain it. He only knew that the armor had reacted to him in a way it never had with others. The thought both frightened and excited him. He sat back, his mind racing. If I can restore this core, the armor may live again. Myra placed her hand gently on his shoulder. Then you must try. Do not fear it. The armor has chosen you. The touch startled him, but it also steadied him. In that moment, he felt no longer alone. A bond had formed between human and alien, built not on orders or duty, but on trust. Rami looked at her and nodded firmly. I will not stop until it is whole. Myra's eyes met his, steady and strong. And I will guard you until it is done. That night, as the glow of the hidden core pulsed faintly in the workshop, a silent promise was made. Human and alien, engineer and warrior, now shared the same goal. The armor was no longer just a test. It was the bridge between their worlds. The workshop glowed faintly in the dark hours of night. Torches flickered along the stone walls, but the brightest light came from the broken armor lying on the table. Its hidden core pulsed with a slow rhythm, like the heartbeat of a resting creature. Rami sat beside it, tools in hand, his face tense with focus. Myra stood near the door, her spear resting against the wall. Though her eyes remained sharp, she allowed herself rare moments of silence, watching Rami as he worked. She had seen many smiths, many warriors, but none treated the armor with the same mix of caution and respect. Rami leaned closer, studying the core. It was unlike anything he had seen before. A sphere of crystal floated inside a shell of metal. Thin lines of light ran outward, connecting to the armor's plates. The glow brightened when his hand hovered over it, then dimmed when he pulled away. It reacts to me, he said softly, half speaking to himself, half to Myra. Myra stepped closer. I see it. The armor knows your touch. That is no accident. Rami shook his head slowly. But why a human? This was built by your people, not mine. Myra's voice carried weight. Perhaps both. Long ago, before my clan kept records, there were stories of other beings who helped shape the weapons of our ancestors. Some say they were humans from distant stars. Others call them travelers from forgotten worlds. What matters is this: the armor remembers what we have forgotten. Rami frowned, his mind racing. Could it be that human knowledge was tied to this technology? The patterns he saw inside the armor were not fully alien. They carried the logic of human machines. Maybe the stories Myra spoke of were not just myths. He placed his fingers gently on the shell of the core. At once the glow brightened, spreading across the armor's wires like fire racing through dry wood. The hum rose, deep and powerful, shaking the table. Myra's eyes widened. It wakes for you. Rami quickly pulled his hand back. The glow faded, the hum fell silent. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. It is dangerous. If I make a mistake, it could destroy itself. Or worse, it could harm you when you wear it. Myra stepped closer, her tall frame casting a shadow across the table. That is why you must be careful. But you must also be brave. The armor chose you. That cannot be ignored. Rami nodded slowly. His fear did not vanish, but determination burned stronger. He picked up a thin tool, its tip glowing with heat. With steady hands, he began clearing away the broken metal around the core. Each piece he removed revealed more of the glowing lines beneath. Hours passed in silence. Sweat ran down his neck, but his hands did not falter. Myra stayed nearby, silent as stone, guarding him with her presence. From time to time she told him more stories of the armor battles against war beasts, duels with rival clans, defenses against firestorms. Each story gave Rami a deeper sense of the armor's spirit. At last, he uncovered the full core. It floated freely within a frame of metal claws, humming faintly, its glow steady now. The sight filled him with awe. "This is the heart," he whispered. Myra nodded. "Yes. Without it, the armor is nothing but metal. With it, the armor becomes a living shield. And now it rests in your hands." Rami examined the lines connecting the core to the armor. Some were frayed, others dark with burns. He could see where energy had failed, where the structure had collapsed. Repairing them would be the hardest task yet. He reached for a spool of thin wire, carefully weaving it into the broken paths. Each connection sparked as he worked, sending light racing outward. He adjusted angles, balanced the flow, and fused the edges with heat. Slowly, the armor began to hum again, not weakly, but with growing strength. When the last wire was placed, the glow surged through every crack and plate. The entire workshop filled with blue light, bright as day. Myra lifted her arm to shield her eyes. "It is alive." Rami pulled back, staring in wonder. "No, not yet. It is only breathing again. It still needs strength." The glow faded slightly, settling into a steady pulse. The armor was stable, but unfinished. Rami sank into his chair, exhausted but filled with a sense of victory. Myra walked forward and placed her hand on the armor. The hum deepened, as if it recognized her too. She looked at Rami. "You have done what no one else could. You uncovered its heart. That alone is a triumph." Rami rubbed his hands, sore from hours of work. "But it is not complete. If you wear it now, it may break again. I need more time to make it whole." Myra gave a small nod. "Then you will have that time. The clan will not rush this. I will see to it." Rami frowned. "They do not trust me. They watch every step, waiting for me to fail." "They will trust you when they see the truth," Myra replied. Her voice was firm, steady. "You are not alone in this. I will stand beside you." Her words carried more weight than any order. For the first time, Rami felt not only responsibility but also partnership. The armor was no longer just a task. It was a bridge between him and Myra, between human and alien. The night grew deeper. Outside, the sound of warriors training faded into silence. Inside, the armor pulsed softly, a steady light in the dark. Rami leaned forward, resting his hand lightly on the core once more. The glow brightened under his touch, warm and strong. He felt its power flow into him, filling him with both fear and hope. He whispered, "You are not just metal. You are memory. You are life. And I will bring you back." Myra heard his words and gave a rare smile. Spoken like one who understands. The bond is forming. When the time comes, this armor will not only protect me, it will carry your mark as well. Rami looked at her, surprised by the certainty in her tone. For a moment, he forgot the doubts of the clan, the pressure of failure, even the fear of what lay ahead. In Myra's eyes he saw trust, and in the armor's glow he saw possibility. The secret core was no longer hidden. Its light now belonged to both of them. And with it, a new path for human and alien alike had begun. The dawn came slowly over the alien stronghold. The first rays of light touched the stone towers and steel gates, turning them gold. Warriors gathered in the wide arena, their heavy footsteps shaking the ground. The sound of voices filled the air, sharp with excitement and curiosity. At the center of the arena stood Myra, tall and proud. She wore the restored armor, its plates gleaming with blue light that pulsed like a steady heart. Each movement of her body made the lines across the armor glow brighter, as if energy flowed through her veins. Near the edge of the arena, Rami stood, his hands clenched tightly. His heart pounded as he watched Myra prepare. He had worked through nights without rest to bring the armor back. Now its strength would be tested in front of the entire clan. If it failed, both Myra's honor and his own life as an outsider would fall apart. The leader of the clan, a gray-scaled warrior named Doran, raised his hand for silence. His voice carried over the crowd. Today the armor faces its trial. The human claims he restored its heart. But words are not proof. Only battle will tell the truth. Myra will face a challenger, and the outcome will decide if this armor still belongs to our people. The crowd cheered loudly. Some shouted in doubt, others in hope. Many eyes turned to Rami, their expressions sharp and unkind. He stood firm, though his stomach twisted with fear. Myra stepped forward. Her voice rang clear. "I will fight. The armor is ready. I trust the human's hands." A murmur spread through the crowd at her bold words. For a warrior of her standing to trust a human so openly was unheard of. But Myra's eyes stayed calm, her focus unshaken. From the other side of the arena, the challenger entered. It was Kor, one of the strongest warriors of the clan. His armor was thick, his arms heavy with muscle, and his eyes burned with the fire of pride. He looked at Rami with scorn before turning to Myra. "This is madness," Kor said. "Our greatest relic placed in the hands of a human? I will break that armor and show the clan the truth." Myra answered firmly, then stepped forward and let the armor decide. The drums of the arena began to beat, slow and powerful. The duel had begun. Kor charged first, his massive blade cutting through the air. Myra raised her arm, the restored shield of her armor catching the blow. A burst of blue light flared out, stopping the strike cold. Gasps filled the crowd. Rami's eyes widened. The repair held. The core was working. Kor struck again, harder this time, aiming at Myra's chest. The armor absorbed the force, the lines of light glowing brighter with each impact. Myra moved smoothly, her steps steady, her shield strong. She countered with a strike of her spear, the weapon ringing against Kor's chest plate. He stumbled back but did not fall. His face twisted in anger. "You hide behind broken tricks," Kor growled. He rushed again, swinging with fury. But Myra was calm. Each strike he made, she met with balance. The armor bent but did not break. It hummed with life, energy flowing through every plate. She moved faster now, her confidence growing. Rami felt his breath returning. The armor was not only surviving, it was thriving. The bond between Myra and the core was complete. Core roared, raising his blade for a final, crushing blow. He leapt high, bringing the weapon down with all his strength. The crowd fell silent, watching with wide eyes. Myra planted her feet and raised her arms. The armor blazed with light, brighter than the sun. The blade struck, but the energy of the core exploded outward, sending core flying across the arena. He crashed to the ground, his weapon shattered. For a moment, silence ruled the arena. Then the crowd erupted with cheers and shouts of awe. Myra stood tall, her armor glowing with victory. She lifted her spear and looked at Doran, her voice firm. The armor stands. The human has restored it. His work has saved our honor. Doran studied her in silence, then looked at Rami. For the first time, the old warrior's eyes carried respect. He raised his arm. The trial is complete. The armor is whole. And the human has proven his worth. The crowd cheered louder, some even bowing their heads toward Rami. He felt heat rush through his chest, not from pride alone but from relief. His long nights of fear and doubt had not been wasted. Myra walked to him, her steps strong. She removed her helmet, her face glowing with sweat and triumph. She looked into Rami's eyes, and for a moment, the crowd around them faded into silence. You doubted yourself, she said softly. But I never doubted you. Rami's voice was quiet, but steady. It was not me alone. The armor chose me, as much as I chose to repair it. And you trusted me when no one else did. Myra gave a small nod, a warrior's sign of respect. Then let this be the proof that human and alien can stand together. The drums beat once more, this time in rhythm with the cheers of the clan. The final trial was over, and the result was clear. The armor had not only been restored, it had been reborn, carrying both human skill and alien spirit. That night, the stronghold lit with celebration. Fires burned bright, warriors sang songs of victory, and the name of Rami was spoken with new weight. But deep in his heart, Rami knew this was not the end. The armor's secret core still held mysteries. Its reaction to his touch hinted at a past not yet uncovered. And though the clan now respected him, greater challenges lay beyond their walls. As the stars shone high above, Myra stood beside him. The bond between them was no longer just forged by duty, but by shared struggle and triumph. Together, they looked to the horizon, ready for whatever came next. The stronghold was alive with light and sound. Fires burned along the walls, and alien voices rang out in songs and chants of victory. Myra's restored armor gleamed in the torchlight, every plate polished, every wire glowing with steady power. The arena where she had proven herself was now empty, but the memory of the final trial hung in the air like an echo. Rami stood at the edge of the hall, quiet among the cheering warriors. His hands were still stained from the repair work, his clothes dusty and worn. 4 days he had labored, with Myra's guidance and the weight of an entire clan's pride on his shoulders. Now, seeing the armor alive and strong, he felt a deep sense of accomplishment, unlike anything he had experienced on Earth. The leader of the clan, Doran, approached him slowly. His eyes, sharp and calculating, studied Rami as if trying to understand the human who had changed the fate of their people. You have done what no alien could, Doran said, his voice steady. You have proven that human skill can match our greatest warriors. From this day forward, your name will be remembered among our champions. Rami bowed his head, a mixture of humility and pride rising inside him. I did only what I could. The armor carried its own strength, and Myra guided me. I am only part of its restoration. Doran nodded. Still, the work was done by human hands. That is a new path for our people. One we will not forget. Myra stepped forward, her eyes meeting Rami's. The blue light of the armor's core pulsed gently as if echoing the bond between them. You feared failure, she said softly, yet you succeeded where none dared try. That courage is rare. Not in strength, but in heart. That is why you saved the armor, and why the clan will respect you. Rami looked at her, his voice quiet. I never imagined humans could matter so much here. I only wanted to do my work well. Myra smiled. Your work is more than machines and metal. You have proven that humans have a place among us. That truth is more important than any battle won with swords or shields. The clan watched silently as Myra spoke. Some warriors shifted uneasily, still unsure about trusting a human fully. But others looked with new respect, recognizing that the human engineer had done what they themselves could not. Later that day, a gathering was held outside the stronghold. The warriors lined the courtyard, their armor gleaming in the sunlight. Myra stood at the center, the restored armor shining like a beacon. She raised her hand for silence. Today, she began, we honor the courage of one who is not born of our people, yet has proven himself worthy of our trust. The human, Rami, has restored what we thought lost. His skill has returned the armor to life. Let this moment be remembered, not only for the armor, but for what it represents. The warriors bowed their heads, some even lowering their weapons in respect. Rami felt a warmth spread through him, the acknowledgement of his hard work, courage, and perseverance. For the first time, he was not just an outsider. He was part of something greater. After the ceremony, Myra approached him again. The weight of her armor no longer seemed intimidating. Instead, it reflected the bond they had built. The armor is yours now as much as it is mine, she said. Your hands gave it life. That will always be remembered. Rami's hands trembled slightly. I do not know what the future holds, he said softly. But I know that this moment, I will never forget it. Myra nodded. Nor will I. Humans have much to offer, if only we open our eyes. Perhaps this is the start of something new, a partnership, a legacy that blends our strengths. Together, we can face challenges that neither could overcome alone. The sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the horizon in gold and red. Rami and Myra stood side by side, looking toward the distant mountains. Beyond them lay unknown threats, lands untouched, and secrets hidden from both humans and aliens alike. Yet neither felt fear now. They had proven that unity was stronger than doubt, and skill combined with trust could change the fate of even the oldest clans. That evening, the clan celebrated. Fires roared, music filled the air, and the aroma of roasted food drifted through the courtyards. Rami watched quietly, smiling faintly as warriors danced and cheered. For the first time, he felt he belonged. Not because of his strength, not because of his race, but because of his courage and the work he had done. Myra came to stand beside him, removing her helmet. You have left your mark, she said. Not only on the armor, but on the hearts of our people. This will be remembered for generations. Humans and aliens, together, can achieve what no one else can. Rami nodded, feeling the truth of her words deep inside. I hope others will see it too. That humans can be more than outsiders. That we can be allies, friends, and protectors. Myra smiled. They will see. And one day, your work may inspire others to follow your path. Not all victories are won with swords. Some are won with hands that build, minds that think, and hearts that dare to trust. As night fell, the glow from Myra's armor and the torchlight from the stronghold lit the courtyard. The clan's songs faded into the distance, leaving Rami alone with the weight of what had been achieved. He looked at the armor, now resting quietly on the table in the inner chamber. It hummed faintly, its core still alive and glowing, a symbol of unity between two worlds. Rami reached out, touching the armor lightly. The glow pulsed beneath his fingers, strong and steady. "We have done well," he whispered. Myra's voice came softly from behind him. "And this is only the beginning. The legacy of human and alien begins here. Together, we will shape the future." Rami turned to look at her. He saw pride, respect, and trust in her eyes. For the first time, he understood the true meaning of HFY, not the strength of one human among many aliens, but the courage, intelligence, and heart of a human that could change the destiny of an entire clan. He smiled, a quiet, confident smile. The challenges ahead were unknown, but he no longer feared them. Humans could belong among the stars. Humans could make a difference. Humans could leave a legacy. And so, under the glow of the restored armor and the stars above, a new chapter began. One of courage, trust, and human ingenuity. One that would be remembered by the clan for generations. Rami took a deep breath. The human engineer had proven himself. The armor had been restored. And together with Myra, he knew that the future was ready to be shaped by the hands of humans and aliens, united as one.